30-second board time. Let's talk hot topics in the sport. As great as the Triple Crown racing was, somehow the best race was actually the main event for our Supercross Futures. We had the 16-year-old New Zealand rider Cole Davies, you see here on the number 17, and the 15 of Gavin Towers, who's next in line there at Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing. JT, unreal battle.
It was incredible, and unfortunately for Gavin Towers, he was really upset with himself for not finding a way to win that Futures race. But for everybody else, we were so thoroughly entertained, and I think it speaks so highly for the future of the sport. And I just go back and I look at Haiden Deegan being in this race last year, and you think about what's possible for a rider like Cole Davies there or Gavin Towers. And everything I would have thought about a ceiling, you have to kind of rethink after what you saw Haiden do last year.
Yeah, Julian Beaumer was fast qualifier at that race last year. He was pretty much unknown. Now he's got a really good ride with factory Red Bull KTM. So people are watching, and for Towers and Davies, that was big. People are also watching a different form of motorcycle racing, the annual Dakar Rally, maybe the gnarliest race of any kind in the world. And an American has won it for the second time ever, and that's Ricky Brabeck, and Honda brought him to Supercross. And here's what I love, JT. He won what you could argue is maybe a gnarlier event, crazier, wilder than a Supercross.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what it takes to win an event like this long, spanning that much space. You're so far away from civilization, and literally anything can go wrong over the course of that event. But for an American to have now won twice, it's incredible. And I think Ricky Brabeck has cemented himself as a legend in motorcycling now.
But the cool thing is, he's a Supercross fan.
I enjoy Supercross. I mean, it's something we watch every weekend it's on. It's just, coming from an off-road racer, I think it's gnarly and it's crazy what they do and how they time everything and all the rhythms.
Let's get into deeper with riders coming over and doing other events. Jorge Pablo has completed his 4-round journey. Has he done enough? Because I figured the guy in his heart and soul wants to come and race here full-time next year. Has he done enough?
I think he has. Was he hoping for more? Sure, right? Were some people thinking like he could find a way to sneak in a podium or something? I'm sure there were those people out there. But for me, I think he proved that he's capable. He just needs more time, more experience. And don't forget, there's that thing called motocross that he's exceptionally great at as well. So I think there are people sniffing around, trying to steal him away from that Red Bull Gas program. We'll see how that all plays out. But yes, to me, Jorge Pablo is back in 2025 and a full-time USA resident and racer.
Yeah, behind the scenes, lots of rumblings of teams already sending offers his way. So whatever he did, it was enough. And he'll be a great personality if we have him in the pits all year next year. Now on to a story that we covered at the end of the race in our SMX Insider post-race show. Good job by Will Christian getting over to the AMA truck. Jason Anderson was penalized. Only one position for going around the whoops, but that had a huge effect on the results and points.
It did, and there was absolute chaos down near the podium as this news broke because it shuffled everything. It shuffled the red plate, it shuffled the overall podium for the night. And for Jason Anderson, you just wonder if there's some sort of cumulative effect here because he's been penalized for this before, going off the track, not making enough of an effort to come back on, and I guess some sort of competitive advantage being gained. But for Anderson, what an up and down night. He wins race 2 going away and then gets this penalty at the very end to knock him off the podium.
Yeah, it's another example like Sexton I cited at the top of the show. You never know. He might have been the fastest rider on Saturday night, and he ends up 4th overall. That's how tight it is in this sport. And straight out of Hollywood is this script of Aaron Plessinger. He's going back to Detroit as the points leader. Now, he only had a 1-point lead coming into Anaheim 2. It was a wild race. It wasn't like a guarantee that he was going to hold this red plate, but with all the chaos at the end of the night, he's still on top.
Yeah, I was able to interview him just after the race, and he was, at the time, was like the 4th place finisher, someone we really wanted to talk to, and then news broke, right? The penalty comes down from Anderson. That shifts the points, it shifts the overall for the night, and it's all unfolding right in front of us. So I'm watching Aaron Plessinger's emotions, Jay Dungy's right there, his emotions, and he has to take off to go chase down Red Bull KTM personnel to kind of sort all this out, whether he's going to be on the podium. And it was jubilation. They were over the moon. If you get an opportunity, go back and watch that interview on the post show with Aaron Plessinger. He was so excited to go back to Detroit, the place where it all kind of came apart last year, and he had that emotional interview. He's going to get to go back there with the red plate, being the points leader of this championship. And I don't know if there's any sort of, way to make things right after such a letdown from last year, but this feels like it's the right place at the right time, and things have kind of been corrected.
Kind of feels like a movie in some ways, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll get Gil Kennan.
Truly poetic justice.
And this is all part of the parity. 4 winners in 4 rounds for both classes. We'll get deeper into that when we bring Clinton Fowler back on for more Fowler's Facts. But that's what's making these races so fun to watch. We had a battle at one point, JT. I think it was for 8th through 12th with like legends in the 450 class. And then the 250s, that's totally wide open as well in the West.
Yeah, and we'd been kind of seeing the same thing. Jordan Smith was Mr. Consistency, wasn't really giving anybody any opportunity, and then he did this weekend. And that same thing's happening across both classes. Chase Sexton looks like he can't be beat, then he has issues, crashes, and I didn't even get to see where he crashed. Cooper Webb really struggled early. We talked about him falling out of the championship. He comes back and wins Anaheim 2 and is right back in the mix. So I think the rule is anytime you think you have something figured out, you're wrong. Like that's really the only way I can really kind of square this whole thing.
Now, there's a couple of factors leading to this sort of parity, and honestly, this might upset some people, but a lot of it runs through Jet Lawrence, because we saw at Anaheim 1, he has the capabilities to shut this parity down because he dominated the opener. But he has done anything but that in the last 3 rounds, and I think we're getting a reminder that he is still a rookie in 450 Supercross.
Yeah, he's. I think this is of his own doing, because over the course of his career, he has been so predictable and so wise, and his racecraft has thoroughly impressed us time and time again. But through 4 races, and really 3 of the 4, he's made mistakes. He's shown us that he is inexperienced in the 450 class for Monster Energy Supercross, and we all wondered, would that all the success of last summer, would it translate and there just be no hiccup along the way? That's not the way this is playing out. I think he's learning a lot. I think it's been very frustrating. And that last crash in race 3, I think spoke volumes about where he is, right? He's still young. He's still only 4 races in. He's got a lot to learn. Doesn't mean he won't be one of the best. It doesn't mean he won't figure this out and dominate down the road. But he still does have things to learn. He is human. He can make mistakes. And thankfully for us, this championship is wide open.
And another reason for the parity is that a lot of the teams right now all seem to be hitting their stride in the same season. Last week was a celebration of the gains that KTM had made. They were 1-2 in points with Plessinger and Sexton. They had won 2 of the 3 rounds. They've been much maligned in the previous seasons. They clearly got the bike working better. This weekend becomes the Yamaha Party. Webb with the win. Tomac finishes 2nd and wins race 3. And let's not forget Justin Cooper, fast qualifier.
Yeah, they really shined this weekend, and it's hard to not say that Cooper Webb was a story because he's your winner. But you are so right. You have to mention Justin Cooper, who was chasing Cooper Webb that entire race 3, was your fastest qualifier and really flashed. He jumped off the page. You see Eli Tomac there. He dominated that race 3. The Blue Crew was out in force this weekend, and you wonder if it was something with the track. Did they get something on the bike figured out? Or was it just their weekend? I think Detroit will give us a little bit more insight, but that had to feel good going back to the Yamaha Star Racing truck there.
Detroit will not give us any insight for the 250 West. It's kind of strange how the schedule worked out this year. There's 1 weekend off for them. Do you think that matters for the West riders?
Not really. I think it'll be a nice break. They're not going to really change anything. They won't take time off. But if some of them have nagging injuries or something they want to sort out, it's always nice to get a little bit of a break. And I think you can just kind of reassess, right? For Joe Shimoda, who's on screen, it's so important because he hasn't gotten on the podium yet, right? And he was expected to be a championship contender. So for him, regroup, and I kind of think you can start over here and go after the championship again. Can he get back in the title fight? I don't know, but winning races is going to be so critical for Joe's success, right? How he writes the story of 2024. Glendale will be an opportunity to kind of just start over and get back to winning.
So with the West off, we start 250 East. Let's give you a brief preview. We could be here for an hour if we really got deep into it. And obviously the talk for 250 East is going to start with last year's 250 East runner-up, Rookie of the Year, and Super Motocross World Champion Haiden Deegan. But we don't necessarily know what type of Deegan we're going to get. You've got other riders here. You see, you got the rookie in Dax Bennick, Tom Vial, the world champ, Jeremy Martin. There's a lot of talent here, and we don't know what we're going to get from Deegan.
Yeah, one of the worst kept secrets of the offseason, Haiden Deegan did have a setback and was off the bike for an extended period of time. So we'll see what sort of form he's in at Detroit. I think that will continue to improve as the series goes on, but parity will still reign here, I think. I can't look at any of these riders and say, yes, he's the best rider, he should dominate. I think the McAdoos, and you throw in a youngster like Chance Hymas, Austin Faulkner, who's the winningest rider of all of these guys with 11 wins. This could go 17 different directions, and we don't know what's going to happen until we show up in Detroit and that gate drops.
And one other wrinkle, we're going to have the 450s race their heat races first. The rest of the night will be as usual. 450s will race their main event last. I love this idea. I made the joke when I heard it. Oops, should have thought of this 50 years ago. We run these giant opening ceremonies, JT. We celebrate the huge 450 stars of the sport, and then we send them back to the pits. Not on Saturday.
Yeah, we're coming in hot and heavy, and if you just happen to be tuned in to NBC, you're going to get Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb right in your face right off the bat, and that is a great way to start off the show. It's going to be a different dynamic, so these riders are going to have a brand new racetrack. They're not going to have the 250 heats in front of them to kind of work in some lines. So we'll see if that has an effect on anyone, but I agree. This is a great way to kick off a great Saturday in Detroit.
All right, let's get to the track map. Take us for a little lap here, JT.
So you see the start there, a little bit of a short start, and into that 90, these riders are going to have to be careful there because if anything pushes wide, they go right off the track. But the rest of this is that standard football fields. You're going to see a lot of 180s, a lot of longer rhythm sections. And to me, this is prototypical Supercross. You get the best racing. You get a lot of block passing. You get a longer set of whoops here. So I love the way this track lays out. I think it's going to give us a great racing because there will be passing zones. Those baseball diamonds that we've had over the course of the first 4 rounds don't always set up so well for that. There's just too many 90-degree turns, in my opinion. But here we go. We're back to the football fields, and we're back to those aggressive passes and the block passes we love so much.
This weekend, we have a live NBC show. Great timing for that. But that does mean different timing for when the races will take place. Race Day Live will start qualifying coverage at 9:30 Eastern Time Saturday morning. And then the racing starts at 3 Eastern. So this is a day race. We'll be wrapped up by 6 p.m. So 3 to 6 is your TV window. Watch us live at NBC or on Peacock.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all. So go for it.